What is up, guys? Welcome back to another one of my gear guides. This is going to show you 0 to hero. No matter where you are in Black Desert Online, it will show you what to do next. In your gear wheel, we're going to talk about the possibilities, what you should do with them, and it will include all of the most recent giveaways that they've given away to new players, including the Try Dead God armor. It'll include the new Edania content and when to make your Sovereign offhand and everything like that. But we're going to start, again, we're going to start from the bottom and then we're going to work our way all the way up. So let's get started. This guide is going to be super long, okay, but you should bookmark it and only just watch segments of the guide where you need it as you go, okay? So you don't have to watch the whole thing immediately. All right, I recommend, as you have questions, come back to the guide as you need it. But yeah, let's get into it. All right. When you start Black Desert Online, you're gonna do the main storyline. That's right, the main storyline is super productive. Thoughts and prayers. Okay, yeah, we're all praying for you. But as you do the main storyline, you're gonna get something called Naru gear, all right? Naru gear. And you're gonna get these beginner Blackstones, which are gonna look like, well, they're gonna look like this, beginner... These things, they're going to look like this. These are going to enhance your Naru gear. You're going to get them naturally for just doing quests in the main storyline. So you're encouraged to continue just doing quests in the main story to get this stuff to PEN, okay? Please bear in mind, they're going to give you Naru equipment for basically every slot of your gear, with the exception, well, they're going to give you one for everything. But there's one very important thing you do not want to do, and that's don't enhance the Naru accessories. Okay, so leave those alone. They're going to give you Naru accessories, but don't put those on. Don't bother with those. They're basically useless. Okay, so don't bother with those. I don't know. I don't think there's there to say. There's no Naru awakening weapon either, because this gear is particularly really meant to kind of get you through the early levels of BDO. Once you hit level 56 and you do your awakening quest line, the awakening quest line will automatically give you a Pry Tuvala. A Pry Tuvala ad Sphera. Okay, and you're like, well, what's Tuvala? Great question. You should start on a seasonal character in BDO. It should have basically forced you to start on a seasonal character, but if you somehow didn't, make sure you go back and do that, because seasonal characters are extremely important. It's just free upgrades and rewards. It's going to help you progress a lot faster. You're not going to miss any part of the game as well as a result of your Tuvala gear and progressing on seasonal either. So once you hit PEN Naru, it's going to immediately prompt you. Like, the game will give you a notification, be like, hey, you can upgrade your Naru to Tuvala. Okay, so it's going to give you, bada bing, bada boom, it's going to give you Pry Tuvala right off the rip. Okay, it's going to give you Pry Tuvala. Keep in mind, as you upgrade your Naru gear, you should not be using Cron Stones. You should not be using any fail stacks. It's really kind of an intro. Hey, here's how the enhancing system kind of works early on, and you really don't want to use anything. The first time you're going to use fail stacks is when you kind of get into your Tuvala, but we'll talk about that here in a second. So I'm going to transition all of this over to Tuvala, because again, as you get through, like particularly by the end of the Medaya quest line, so once you've gone through Balanos, Serendia, and Calpheon, we recommend that you start the main story in Balanos. That's the Ancient Stone Chamber quest line, for those of you that don't know. And if you didn't do that, eventually you're going to have to do it anyway, so, it is what it is. Bada bing, bada boom. We're going to transfer all of these over to Tuvala. But once you finish the Medaya questline, so after Balanos, Serendia, and Calpheon, you'll do the Medaya questline. After that, you should have enough beginner Blackstones. All of your stuff should be at least Pry Tuvala. And interestingly enough, you'll probably have even better gear than that, because of what I'm about to explain here. Okay. All right, so now your gear should look a little bit like this, and you can kind of just throw on whatever accessories you happen to get during the main storyline. You just throw them on. It is what it is. You're going to get some Kaposhas. You're going to get some Tuvala stuff. But mainly, you're going to be transitioning to Tuvala accessories very, very quickly throughout the main story. So I'm just going to type in Tuvala here. Okay, and you're going to be able to enhance these. They've made these a lot easier. Okay, now for those of you that don't know, it's like, well, I don't know how to get my Tuvala accessories, because they're actually a little harder to get, because again, you don't get to trade out PEN Naru for Pry Tuvala accessories. That's not how it works. That only works for armor and weapons. Like, where do you get these? Okay, well, you're going to get these time-filled Blackstones. I don't know if I have any. Time-filled. I don't have any. Let me get a picture for you. Okay, so you're gonna get these things called time-filled Blackstones. They look like this, little purple stones, as you grind on seasonal servers, which is why you should always be doing the main story on seasonal servers. You should always be grinding on seasonal servers, and generally just progressing on seasonal servers. You're gonna get these things. You can take these to the blacksmith in any major town and exchange them for Tuvala accessories. Okay, so that's how you're gonna get to your Tuvala accessories. All right, so after you enhance your Tuvala accessories, you should be able to do this pretty quickly because there's like a weekly for seasonal that you can do, and grinding on seasonal will get you a lot of these stones. So I'm basically very naturally going to put most of this stuff at try right away. There's also, because you're going to be able to get this within a day or two of starting the game in most cases. As long as you finish the main story and stuff, you should be able to get to about this particular point very, very quickly. Okay, now for your armor and weapons, you're like, how do I enhance these? Well, good to know. They actually enhance, I believe, to try for free. Actually, I think, do they allow you to go to TET now with no, I think they let you to go to TET now, right? With like 0% failure rate. It's try. Okay, so accessories allow you to go to try with 0 failure rate, and the armor and weapons also allow you to go to try. So again, these are 100% success rate guaranteed. The moment that you transfer over to Tuvala, you basically are going to be sitting on try Tuvala. Okay, so you hit PEN Naru, you really basically hit try Tuvala. Then you go to your accessories, and again, those are free now. You just turn in the time-filled stones, you'll be able to get them to try it for free. TET and PEN are not guaranteed, and as a warning, they will disappear if they fail. Okay, and at this point, you're probably going to be wearing a Takros Spirit Stone. Okay, so we're going to put this on here as well. And I'm sure you're wondering, okay, what goes in here? Well, there's a quest that you'll probably pick up from your Black Spirit that's going to give you monster AP. Okay, and then there's going to be one that gives you damage reduction. Yeah, monster damage reduction. Okay, you're going to get these from your Black Spirit. The monster AP against monsters one. This is amazing. You're going to try to get another one of those as you're grinding, okay? But you should just get that naturally as you progress. So I'm going to change this over now, but you won't have it right away, okay? Boom. So you'll get this naturally as you play the game. Just doing stuff. Just doing stuff. All right, the first 4 Lightstones that you put in your artifacts. Like, well, what are artifacts? They're these things you put on. They're basically just extra gear slots. You're going to put these on. You're going to get artifacts as you play the game, and they're going to be for different things. Eventually, we're going to upgrade to something called a Kabua's artifact, but we'll talk about that later. Okay, but basically, you can put these things called Lightstones in here. And the first things that you're going to put in here are the combat Lightstones. Okay, and these are really, really cheap. You can just put 4 of these in here, and as a new player, this is invaluable. Invaluable, okay? And the reason is they are super cheap. You can just go to the marketplace, type in combat, scroll down. There it is right there. Okay, they are 8 million silver. There's some orders on them, but you'll get them right away. They sell. There's 425,000 of these have sold. They sell all the time. So just buy 4 of them and put them in your gear. You can see they give you combat EXP plus 25%, which is awesome for a new player. You're going to have 4 of them because there's 2 Lightstones in each artifact. That gives you 100% combat EXP just walking around town. All right. Then the set effect also gives you another 300% combat EXP. So you're just going to have like 400% combat EXP just for putting these bad boys on, okay? It's very cheap. Definitely your first Lightstone setup is definitely what you should have here. So after you finish this, this is your initial starter setup. Well, you guessed it. Now you're going to start actually playing the game. Okay, so now you're going to start grinding. I'm assuming that you're grinding at like one of the Desert Valencia spots, or maybe Polly's, Miramuk Ruins, wherever you decide to grind, you are going to start grinding, okay? And you're very, very quickly going to push your weapons to PEN Tuvala, okay? And you should do that first, okay? You're going to be pushing your armor to PEN Tuvala, and this is not going to take very long. You should not be using Cron Stones on your Tuvala gear. You should be saving your Cron Stones. You're going to basically pen every single piece of this Tuvala, okay? And at this stage, you're still probably finishing up parts of the main story. I'll be honest with you. because there's like the Kama Sylvia questline, the Valencia questline, the Ulakita questline, and a few other questlines that you can do. And that's going to take some time. You're not going to want to do those all at once. You're going to be biting them off piece by piece. But at this point, you're probably through like the Valencia-ish questline, and it's time to start thinking about your alchemy stone. All right, it's right around this point where you want to look at the Ulakita questline and do that. Okay, so when you hit O as an octopussy, in game, you click on main, you scroll all the way to the bottom. There's going to be an Ulakita questline right here. It's got 75 quests. That seems like a lot. The questline's actually pretty good. If you speed run it, you can get it done in an hour or two. The reason you want to do this is, well, 3 or 4 reasons. 1, it's going to give you energy. 2, it's going to give you contribution. 3, it's going to give you, and most importantly, it's going to give you a best in slot alchemy stone at this stage of the game. Okay, so it's going to give you something called Ator's Power Stone. This is going to have 1 sheet AP on it, it's just going to have a sheet AP on it, and it's going to be better than all the other alchemy stones you've had to this point. Okay, so this is really easy to get. You get this through questing and doing your first couple hours of grinding. You should be at this stage here. You're also going to have like an adventure tome up in here. Yeah, you can do that, and you can upgrade that to the Chenga tome if you want to level up via questing. You can do that, but you know, I'm not necessarily going to recommend that in this guide here. Okay, so now we're at 551 gear score, and this is theoretically where you could say the game technically begins. The first question that a lot of seasonal adventurers are going to ask is, should I stay on seasonal to continue collecting rewards? The answer is no. Okay, don't do that. Just graduate. Okay, there are way too many rewards that you get for graduating seasonal nowadays. You just want to immediately move on. Make sure that all of your Tuvala is PEN before you leave seasonal. Do not graduate seasonal before all your Tuvala is PEN, but once it is, graduate, okay? Because there's a number of things that you're going to be able to do, like put on PEN Capotias, okay? When you graduate your seasonal, you're going to have an option to take a few of the rewards, okay? And normally, we would tell people to take the PEN Capotia necklace, okay? But we're not going to tell you to do that here now because of the way that things have kind of played out in the... like basically like the giveaways that they've given new players and stuff. I'm probably just going to tell you to take the belt here. Okay, so it's going to give you a PEN Capotia belt. Okay, and then you're also, if you're AFK fishing during this time, you can turn in coelacanths. These things can be exchanged for Dreamy Crystal of Balance. Okay, 25, and you can do it 3 times. 3 times per family. Okay, so you're going to get 21 Dreamy Crystal of Balance. What this does is basically it's going to give you need 21 Dreamy Crystal of Balances to turn a Tri-Capotia to a PEN Capotia guaranteed. And that's really important because in your Y menu, there is a free Tri-Capotia. It's not going to look like this, but it's a Tri-Capotia of your choice. Okay, so you can pick a Tri-Capotia of your choice in the Y menu. You get it as a reward for, again, hitting like, I don't know, it's 60 or 62 or something. You one of those things. You'll get it for one of those things. You will just naturally have it usually by the time you finish your seasonal. Okay, so we're just going to go ahead and say that you have a PEN Capotia ring here because it's going to give it to you at try, and then you can turn in those coelacanths to make it PEN. Bada bing, bada boom. They're also going to hand you another PEN Capotia ring or earring of your choice. And I recommend taking at least one of the earrings. So at this point, you're looking at 3 Capotias. You've graduated from Tuvala Timmy to Capotia Carl. Congratulations. All right. Congratulations. Now, at this point, you're thinking, well, why didn't I take the PEN Capotia necklace? That's because there's a quest from Fugar. After you graduate, you need to put that graduation cap that they give you in your inventory. He's going to have 3 quests for you, okay? And you're going to do all 3 of them. But the first one that you're going to do, because it's 100% success rate the whole way through, I think it costs like concentrated stones or something. It's relatively cheap overall. It's going to give you a Kharazad necklace. Okay, it's going to give you a Kharazad necklace. This is the end game accessory. All right, one end game accessory of your choosing. All right, and the necklace is always the choice that you want to go with because it gives you the most AP, and then when you level it up, it gives you 2 AP at every level instead of 1, which the other ones will do. The other ones only give you 1. It's Essence of Dawn. That's right, Essence of Dawn. Okay, if you're wondering, how do I get Essence of Dawn? It's really, really easy. Hit escape, go to the marketplace. Usually Essence of Dawn is sold out, but if it's not, you can always just buy it. But you wanted to be smart about it. You can melt all of these wand crystals for Essence of Dawn, and you'd generally be able to get these for a lot cheaper than you get the Essence of Dawn for. So you can melt these 1 for 1 and exchange them for normal Essence of Dawn. Okay, just these top 5 wand crystals here that all look like this. Okay. All right, so you can do that too. The bonds are also cheap. Yeah, you can melt the bonds as well. BON. Yeah, these you can do. Okay. All right. But you're going to get it at TET, so I'm going to leave it at TET for now. There are 2 other quests that you're going to have, and you're also going to have something in your Y menu. The moment that you graduate seasonal, you're going to have a PEN Blackstar waiting for you in your Y menu, assuming that you're level 61, I think it is, which you should be by the time you graduate. Okay, which PEN Blackstar do we take? The age-old question. All right, so I'm going to make this really easy for you. Your first PEN Blackstar should always, if you are in a awakening class, like you're an awakening witch, okay, you're going to take the awakening PEN Blackstar as your first one. If you're a succession class, you're going to take the pre-awakening PEN Blackstar first. Okay, at no point are you taking the offhand. But blue, what about the sovereign? Shh, no, you're not going to do the shh. Okay, I'll explain why soon. Okay, I'll explain why soon, but at no point are you taking the offhand. Okay, so if you're an awakening class, you're going to take the PEN Awakening. If you're a succession class, you're going to take the pre-awakening. All right, if you are an ascension class, let's say that, well, I'll handle them one at a time. Shies. What should Shies be taking? You're always taking the pre-awakening every time. Why? Because you can't really take the awakening on Shy, and you're definitely never taking the offhand, so you're going to take the flow rank every time. Yes, also a rope. Yes. So Shy is going to be taking the pre-awakening. Archer. Another great one. You're taking awakening on Archer. Okay, always the awakening first, because most of Archer's damage is coming from that awakening weapon. Okay, so now let's ask the question, Deadeye. What should Deadeye be making first? Deadeye should be taking the pre-awakening first. Okay, so Deadeye is always taking the main hand first. The revolver is going to be more important to you than the rocket launcher. Okay, in PvP, the rocket launcher is really good, but I'll be honest with you, Deadeye's importance are main hand, offhand, awakening, in that order. Okay. Scholar. Awakening. Most of your damage on Scholar is coming from the big sledgehammer. That's not to say that your 2 like mini hammers, like your battle art hammers, aren't doing a lot of damage, but the awakening on Scholar is usually where you're pulling it through. That's usually where the majority of damage is coming from. Now, to be clear on Scholar, the priority is awakening, then pre-awakening, and then offhand. So it's different than Deadeye. Deadeye is main hand, offhand, then awakening. Okay, and you know what? I should put these in order. So this is the order that you're taking your black stars in, guys. They're going to hand you a free black star through your Y menu with the Ascension classes and Succession classes again. And I'll put Succession on here. Succession. So for Succession, it is guaranteed every time you are taking the main hand first, no matter what. Okay. The second one, you can actually take the main hand. I mean, the main hand. Awakening. You can either take the Awakening or the offhand. I'm telling you to take the offhand and to have, as long as you have at least a Tet Blackstar in your Awakening, you should be okay. You should be okay. But please bear in mind that the Awakening Blackstar, when you hit it to pen, is going to give you a good amount of monster damage. Okay, it's going to give you more monster damage than the offhand is. And I'll be honest with you, I still think I'm changing it back. I'm changing it back. I think that it should be Awakening. I do. Mainly because the offhand only gives, there should be a space in offhand. I'm kind of mentally, so just bear that in mind. Some of these offhands have spaces, some don't. Who cares? Okay, so main hand, then I'm going to recommend you get your Awakening. The reason I'm telling you to take your Awakening second is because the difference between a Tet and a PEN Blackstar is only 2 AP. Okay, and the monster damage is also, I don't know, like 4 monster damage. Not very high. But if you take the Awakening, your Awakening is going to give you, I believe it's 9 AP, 8 or 9 AP, difference between a Tet and a PEN Blackstar. And 30% of your Awakening damage is translated to your main hand. So any way you slice it, whether it's 8 AP or 9 AP, more damage will translate to your main hand as a result of taking the Awakening. Not to mention the fact that the Awakening Blackstar also gives you more monster damage overall, so it should typically be the choice for your second pen in a succession format. So if you're playing a succession class, it should be main hand, Awakening, and then the offhand. However, if you take the offhand, it's not that big of a deal. Okay? Awakening classes are always taking the Awakening Blackstar first, followed by the main hand, followed by the offhand. Okay? Most Awakening classes are going to rely very heavily on some of their main hand damage, like Dark Knight, like Mystic, like, well, honestly, Mystic not so much anymore, but like you're going to be using main hand skills. And to be clear, if you're taking the Awakening Blackstar first, of the 3 choices, the main hand Blackstar gives the most monster damage from Tet to Pen. You're going to get a ton of monster damage for going from Tet to Pen. The only reason you're taking the Awakening is because your Awakening skills scale off your Awakening AP, and so you should always take the Awakening one first. So you typically want to take the main hand second because it's going to give you a lot of monster damage, even if you don't have to swap back and forth from your pre-Awakening to Awakening and vice versa, which some classes still have to do. And then you're taking the offhand last as usual. Okay, so this should basically clear up in any case, okay, where should you be taking your first Black Stars and stuff? And to be clear, I'm going to make this really easy for you. I'm just going to delete the Black Star. First Sovereign. Okay, your first Sovereign should always be whatever I recommended here. Okay, Shy's first Sovereign is going to be their main hand. Archer's first Sovereign is going to be their Awakening. Deadeye's first Sovereign is going to be their main hand, etc. And down the list. Okay, your second Sovereign is always going to be your offhand, basically across the board. Some people, you will get the offhand Sovereign first. Okay, so you can choose to get the offhand Sovereign before like your main hand or Awakening. That is possible, and we're going to go over that too, and the cases where you should do that. Okay, so, but if you're looking at like, well, I have an extra Black Star laying around, or maybe they gave one away for login rewards or whatever, you have an extra Black Star and it's not an offhand, you know, whatever's in this first column or the offhand will suit you best. Okay, all right. Okay, so now you know which Black Stars you're going to take first. Now you know which Black Stars you're going to take first. We're going to pretend that we're playing Awakening Witch here, because it's a very popular class. So we took the PEN Blackstar Awakening Weapon first, because we're an Awakening class. Then you're going to go to Fugar. Fugar's got another quest for you, all right? Fugar has a quest to turn a normal PEN Tuvala weapon into a deck Tuvala weapon, which you can then turn in for another PEN Blackstar. This is going to cost you between 15 to 20 billion silver on average. Okay, with a maximum, if you pity every single level, it could cost you technically about 40 bill, which would be a little rough. Now, I know that those numbers seem really high. You're like, oh God, I don't know how to get that. I don't know what to do. Oh my goodness. Now, I want to be clear. Most of the time for new players, you're going to have this given to you. Okay, most of this 15 to 20 bill is going to come from Cron stones that you need to enhance the Tuvala from pen to deck. You'll notice if I click on this Tuvala, it can go to Hex, Sept, Oct, Nuve, and Deck. Okay, you can only do that with one of them. Okay, so you got to be careful. This is your second PEN Blackstar we're talking about, so we're going to take the main hand in this case. All right. Usually the game has some sort of codes that you can use, and Garmoth is a great website for this. You don't necessarily always want to use it, but Garmoth's a great website for this. You can see that there are codes here that you can always use to turn in to get a bunch of Cron stones. Okay, so in this case, you can just click this button right here, and it will copy it to your clipboard, and then you can go in game here. You hit escape, you click on, I think it's Adventurer Support. Yeah, redeem coupon over here in the bottom left. And then you just paste the coupon in and then you hit enter. Okay. And then those rewards will be waiting for you in your mailbox. All right. So usually the majority of this money is going to come from codes that you get from the last ball or whatever event is going on or whatever. Okay. So you should be able to get to this without really grinding almost at all. Okay. This is what you're going to use those Cron stones on. Is the most efficient things to use the Cron stones on. So yeah. That's what we're going to do. New players get a free 10 bill. no. Oh, yeah. They also get a free 10 bill, period. Now, like you get a free 10 bill just for graduating and stuff. So most of what I'm telling you right here, although it's going to cost you a certain amount of silver, the game is just going to throw all of this stuff at you, and you should basically just have this when you graduate seasonal, and then you turn in all your codes and stuff, and then you've started to grind and do your weeklies and your Caphras quest line, which we're going to talk about here in a few minutes here. There's also going to be in your Y menu, there's going to be a TET Blackstar. That is what I'm going to recommend that you take here. Okay. Oh, not so. Oh my goodness. Crazy. There we go. All right. So you take the TET offhand. Okay. In a lot of cases. Now, some of you are going to have a different setup here. Some of you are going to have a pen offhand and a pen main hand, etc. That's totally fine. No big deal. Okay. I recommend going with the chart that I just presented to you before, but it is what it is. Most of you are going to end up with this setup right here. So that's what we're going to use moving forward. Now, there's a brand new quest line that just got introduced to the game, okay, for deck Tuvala armor, all right, which can turn into Fallen God, okay? That's the end game gear. Well, that's the mid game gear, okay? That's the mid game. That is very, very good armor, okay, in the game. All right, so you're going to be able to trade that in for one of these armor pieces of your choice for armor. Okay, now, this is the point where you're going to have to enhance your deck Tuvala armor. All right. Which one do you choose? It's the boots every time. Okay. And the reason is I used to say, well, maybe you want to get the helmet. But honestly, the flame is super obtainable now. There's only 2 orders. You can get it for about 2 bill here. For those of you that don't know, and those new players going, what is he talking about? Flame? What now? So when you convert your Tuvala to PEN boss gear, you're going to put these little golden eggs in your boss gear, thousands and thousands of these little golden eggs into your boss gear until it hits the golden egg level 10, Caphras level 10. Okay, then it's going to transfer into Dead God armor. You're like, oh my god, this is very confusing. Don't worry about it. I'm going to dumb it down so that even a caveman could do it. But bottom line, the throttle for trying to get your mid to end game armor is going to be these Flames of Despair, your Flame of Frost, Flame of Hongik, and Flame of Resonance. You'll notice of these 4 here, this one is for the gloves, this one is for the helmet, this one is for the chest piece, and this one is for the boots. The boots one is significantly more expensive than the other 3, so you definitely want to take the boots. Okay, now this is the point in the video where I have to explain which classes are evasion and which classes are DR, because you are going to get boots. All right, you're going to enhance these to deck Tuvala. They haven't actually upgraded it on Garmoth, but it's going to be the exact same process as you did for the Blackstar. It should cost you almost the exact amount of money and Crown Stones as it did for the Blackstar as well. Okay, we're going to put the DR boots here for a second, but right now we're going to do the, oh boy, the very controversial discussion. Okay, damage reduction or evasion. Okay. All right, so in Black Desert Online, there are 2 different build paths that you can go. But really, there's only one build path that you're going to end up with regardless. So if you end up screwing this up, it's totally fine. You can fix it later on. But you really, especially early on, you really don't want to try to screw this up. Okay, but I will tell you that in the end game, it doesn't matter. All DR and evasion, you end up converting onto Edania armor anyway, so it's not going to matter. But early game, you should understand the difference and what your class should be building. So these classes that I've listed out here are kind of, honestly, I'm going to take Wizard and Witch off this too. These classes that I've listed out here are very clearly either damage reduction or evasion. Please bear in mind, there are a lot of people in the Black Desert community that feel very strongly about how to build their class, okay? And it's also very important to understand that most people that play this game are completely okay, they don't really understand what the hell is going on, and they get it stuck in their head that they should be one way, and it's their way or the highway, and that's just the way that it goes. The brutal reality of the situation is you can build damage reduction or evasion on pretty much any class in the game. You should be okay. If you build evasion on a shield class like a guardian, you're gonna have a bad time, so you really don't want to fuck up the classes that I have on the screen the way that they're listed, okay? For a really long time in the game, damage reduction was considered a lot stronger than evasion in PvE, and so you're going to see a lot of people talking about outdated information where DR is just so much better in PvE than evasion is. Evasion, it's gotten a lot better. They keep buffing evasion over and over and over again, and if you have to ask the question, do I need to build DR or evasion, you need to listen to this sheet right here. Okay, players that are really, really good at the game, or players that are really like super end game, you might see someone like a Lon, like really good Lons, building damage reduction on Lon. Okay, and that's because they know a shitload about Lon, and their strategy is just don't get hit. Okay, so like, but like you as a new player, you shouldn't necessarily be listening to that. So if you have to ask the question, you need to just do what I'm telling you to do on this list here, because the reason I'm telling you to build in this way is because all of the classes listed on this right side have evasion passives. Okay, so in other words, they have passives that naturally scale. The more evasion you have, the tankier you will feel. Okay, they have evasion passives that you will scale with. All right, Sorceress is a great example. Kuno is a great example. Striker's a great example of those classes. The classes on the left have DP scaling, no evasion passives. They have DP passives. They have DP passives. So that basically you don't really want to build evasion on something that doesn't scale very well with evasion. You need a lot of evasion if you're going to make it work. Okay, so the reason I have them listed in these columns is because you've got the evasion passives in your kit. Now we're going to talk about a few of the controversial classes in the game and where I would put them. The first we're going to talk about is Dark Knight. Dark Knight technically has one evasion passive in its succession kit, nothing in its awakening, in its succession kit that gives it, I think, like, I don't know, 8 or 9% evasion on Wheel of Fortune. It is not that great. I mean, like, it is good, but like, and so you do see some Dark Knights building evasion for that purpose in succession. But I would say the vast majority of Dark Knights end up building Dark Knight in damage reduction, and that's what I would recommend that you do as a Dark Knight main myself. Mainly because Dark Knight is almost entirely based around how much damage that you can do to your opponent. And if you build a damage reduction build, you're gonna have more damage in your crystal build. That's just the way that it goes. Evasion has to run extra crystals in its crystal build to make itself feel a little bit more tanky overall, because there are ways to get a lot more evasion through your crystal build than there is to get DR in a lot of cases. So yeah, you can run a much more aggressive crystal setup on Dark Knight, and that's why I recommend damage reduction. But you could technically build evasion on the class and be okay. Another class that people like to talk about very often is Witch and Wizard. And this is where we're going to differ a little bit. If you're a Succession Witch and a Succession Wizard, you should probably build DR, okay? Because that is going to feel a lot better and feel a lot tankier on your class. You don't really have any notable evasion. You do have a little bit of an evasion passive, but it's nothing crazy. If you're an Awakening Witch, or particularly an Awakening Wizard, it's definitely a little bit better to build evasion on those classes, especially in PvP. But I'll be honest with you, most of the time you're probably not playing PvP in the game nowadays. I want to be very clear that there are a lot of witches and wizards that always build DR, and that's totally fine. There is nothing wrong. You cannot f up witch and wizard. You can build evasion or damage reduction. You will be just fine. Do not build both. Do not build both. Okay, there's always some moron new player that's like, wait a minute. What if I built both DR and evasion? Okay, I assure you that of the hundreds of thousands of adventurers that have played this game, you are not the Lisan El Gaib of hybrid builds, okay? It is not going to work out for you. It sucks. So if you're going to go evasion, go full evasion. And if you're going to go damage reduction, go full damage reduction. And I want to be clear, if you're still on the fence as to what to do based on this guide, build damage reduction. If you don't believe me, or you don't believe other people, just build DR. You really can't go wrong with DR. And the reason is, if you build an evasion class with DR, you're probably going to be okay. Like Striker, you can go DR Striker, and Striker's going to feel fine. No big deal. But if you build Guardian with evasion, it's going to feel like shit. Okay, so if you build evasion on a class that's supposed to be DR, it's not going to feel very good. All right, so when in doubt, you can build DR, mainly because it's kind of a foolproof system. DR is pretty standard. Both evasion and DR work very similarly now in BDO anyway, so it is what it is. Now, Sage, another controversial class. Sage doesn't really have evasion passives to speak of, but if you talk to the Sage mains, whether they're Awakening or Succession, a decent amount of the Sage mains are actually building evasion, especially into the late game, because they feel it helps them trade better with their opponents. Some of the Sages are building DR because they feel like they're PvE Andes and they don't really care either way. Sage is a class that genuinely, you cannot go wrong. You can build DR or evasion on the class. In my opinion, I do feel that Sage looks like it does perform a little bit better with evasion, especially in PvP, but if you're not going to do PvP, again, it doesn't really matter very much. Okay. Corsair. Corsair is a class that always is built evasion no matter what. Do not build DR on Corsair. Okay, the class has some of the best evasion passives in the game. You definitely want to be building evasion on Corsair. I almost forgot it, just like the developers did. I kid. Okay. Now, have I forgotten any classes? Have I forgotten any classes? What if I'm playing Savior? Savior almost certainly, if you're watching this in the future, is going to be a DR build. I would be brutally surprised if Savior was not a damage reduction class. It's almost certainly going to be a block class. Oh, Archer, right. Archer is a damage reduction class. Okay, you're going to be building DR on Archer. Ranger. Most Rangers nowadays are building evasion because they gave, in a not so distant patch, a little less than like 8-9 months ago, they gave Ranger a bunch of evasion passives that now Ranger actually does pretty well with evasion. And to be honest with you, Ranger is one of the squishiest classes in the entire game, if not the squishiest class in the entire game. So evasion, honestly, with DR, you're getting one shot. And with evasion, at least you have the probability of not getting one shot entirely. So a lot of the Succession and Awakening Rangers are going evasion nowadays, but you will still see some with Rangers with DR. So, but I would put a Ranger in the evasion column pretty convincingly. Okay, pretty convincingly. Can Mego go DR? Absolutely it can. Yes. Anything in the evasion column can absolutely build damage reduction. 100%. Okay, and you'll be fine. If you're talking about the DR column building, like you build Berserker with evasion, you're gonna have a bad time. That's why I said, if you're gonna default to DR. Okay, but in my opinion, these classes absolutely every time should be built evasion, especially if you have to ask the question. Yes, this is the list that you should be going, basically whether or not you're DR or evasion. You can see, like, again, if you want to see Sage, Wizard, and Witch, again, I explain those in the guide too. But again, yeah, this is generally what you're going to be building. I want to be very clear that no matter what you do, you cannot screw this up, because eventually everything will converge on the exact same build. There is no DR or evasion in the end game build. It is all, you all end up being the same anyway. And I'll show what that looks like here in a second. Eventually, all of us will have the exact same gloves and the exact same boots, no matter what. Okay, so ultimately, it's not going to matter. But early on, you want to make sure that you are all DR or all evasion. Okay, now back to it. Blue is damage reduction. Green is evasion. Okay, so go based on the list that I just showed you, whether you're DR or evasion. Now, when you go to make your gloves, okay, the DR gloves are Beg's gloves. Okay, if you're going to go the DR build, it is Beg's gloves and Lieber's shoes. Okay? Wait. Beg's gloves and Uragons. Okay, there we go. Beg's gloves and Uragons. I'm losing my mind. I'm losing my mind. This is the DR build. Okay. And the evasion build is Lieber's gloves and Muskin's shoes. All right. So these are the different directions that you're going. Okay. Most people are going to end up going DR, and that's fine. But again, if you're going the other way, you're going evasion, then you're going to take green here, and you're going to take Lieber's gloves. Okay, but we are DR, so when we push these forward, we're going to make these Beg's gloves. Okay, but this is basically where you're going to be after you graduate seasonal and you've grinded for a little bit. This is basically the gear that you're going to end up landing on, okay? And you'll notice you're already 615 gear score. I'll make my camera a little bit smaller. So you are very quickly entering into the mid-game gear at this point. And I'll be honest with you, right around now is when you probably want to do your journals. Now, before, there were a ton of journals, and this is where I have good news for everybody that's watching this guide instead of my last gear guide. They have updated it. Now, you only have to do Igor Bartali's adventure log, and you're going to get basically every single piece of AP and DP that you could possibly imagine. Okay, so really, really easy. You don't have to do all the adventure logs anymore. Way less questing, way less hardship. But you're going to do Igor Bartali's at this point. Boom. You'll notice immediately we jump up to 627 gear score. Your Barrier of Infestation is your Zarka thing. You can do that in about an hour. No big deal. You go kill Zarka 5 times. It gets harder each time. And then the rest of these you're going to get for just doing the main storyline, basically. You'll have all of these for doing Land of the Morning Light story. The 10th anniversary 1 AP and DP, okay, is a really easy quest. There's a hello guys, welcome back to Chris Valley channel guide for it that you can go do, but it takes like 5 minutes, okay, maybe 10 minutes. All right, so that's gonna take you like 10 minutes to go do, so I recommend doing that pretty quick. It's gonna be 1 AP, 1 DP, and 103 HP. All right, so no time at all. But this is around the time when you want to do these adventure logs. Okay, now is the time when people start really up their gear score. Okay, because up to this point, the only thing you can really mess up is whether or not you're DR or evasion, which, as I stated, isn't really that big of a deal. As long as you commit to being evasion or DR, you should be okay, regardless. Now, at this point, people are going to start telling you to do some crazy stuff. Okay, you do not want to get your sovereign offhand at this stage. Okay, there's also going to be crazy people in the BDO community that are going to tell you to do something very different. I'm gonna explain it right now. They're gonna try to tell you to grind for PEN Debo accessories and trade them for Nuv Kharazads. You're like, wait, what? We're gonna what now? In Black Desert, there are things called Deborekas accessories. Okay, they drop from all of the high-end grind zones in the game, pretty much. And you can trade them if you get them to maximum enhancement level, which is PEN. You can trade them for Nuv Kharazads. Ooh, Nuv Kharazads. Very big, okay? And it is cost efficient to do this. Okay, it is very cost efficient to do this method where you buy a PEN Debo from the central marketplace and simply exchange it for a Nuv Kharazads, and this can bypass a lot of the frustration of enhancing Kharazads accessories. Okay, you don't want to do this as a new player. You don't want to do this as a returning player in most cases. There is one situation where you are going to want to do that, and I'll explain that in a second. But you really don't want to do this. And the reason is these people are always going to tell you the prices on these Debos are really, really low. And they're always going to point their finger at the exact same market. They're going to point it at the Debo necklace. And they're going to say, oh my God, look how cheap the Debo necklaces are. But for a new player, they're going to click on this and they're going to go, that's a lot of zeros. How am I supposed to get 132 billion? And those same people that have literally like 850 year score are literally going to look at you and just go, you just grind for it. I don't even know what, just grind. Let's play the game. Okay. And they really don't understand that, number one, a new player is making 700 mil to 1.1 billion silver an hour everywhere that they grind. Okay. So you're talking about 132 hours without any progress in the game at all. None. Realistically, when you factor in consumables and some of the other stuff that you're going to buy, because, you know, it's a marathon, not a race, you're looking at least 150 or so hours of grinding, almost guaranteed, to get one upgraded accessory. Then, because you don't even get to go to the next grind spot yet, you get to do it again. And here's the fun part that they're not going to tell you. You go to the next one. Oh shit, wait, that's a lot higher. 180 billion silver. That's a lot more expensive. And that's what these con artists are going to try to sell to you, is that, oh, well, you can trade in, you just buy PEN Debos like 100 bill a piece. Not only are they lopping off 30 billion, which is like, you know, 30% of the cost, but they're also lying to you and not telling you that the other Debos are all much, much more expensive than the PEN counterpart. The reason that the PEN Debo necklace is very minimally expensive is because everybody takes, out of seasonal, they all take the Tet Kharazads necklace. So they don't really want, because once you have Kharazads, once you go Kharazads, you don't go back. Okay, you have Kharazads, you keep enhancing the Kharazads. So most players aren't looking at getting that. There's also a massive supply of PEN Debo necklaces because Dekia 2 Ash Forest is extremely popular. So supply is really high, demand is particularly low on those particular Deborekas accessories, and so that price is actually, this is a low price. But even if they were all 132 bill, I'm going to tell you right now, this is a terrible way to play Black Desert Online. You're talking about grinding a spot like Honglim Forest for over 300 hours, okay, to get 2 PEN Debos before you can move on to the next grind zone. Okay, and what these players are going to tell you is they're going to say, well, you're going to save 200 billion silver worth of enhancing materials by doing it our way. And I will tell you this, if you truly don't believe me on this, I challenge you to go grind for a PEN Debo as a new player with gear that looks like this. Good luck. And when you come around to my way of thinking on things and you go the Kharazads route, you let me know, okay? And you let everybody know that I am 100% correct about this, because the stepwise progression of Kharazad will allow you to, one, feel a lot better about playing the game. Like, getting AP very quickly over time is going to feel so much better, number one. And number two, with how grind zones work in Black Desert Online now, you absolutely must reach the recommended AP for a grind zone, or you literally can't grind there. Okay, you actually just can't do it. So if you do Kharazads step by step and just continue to enhance them, as I'm about to show you in this guide, you will reach those grind zones more quickly, and you will be making more silver per hour as you go. So yeah, you're gonna lose some silver per hour on the exchange because you're not exchanging PEN Debos for New Kharazad. Not technically the most efficient way of doing it, but you will make a lot more silver per hour if you do it my way, and the game will feel infinitely better. You'll have way more grind zones to choose from. Your gear will progress at a natural rate. And again, you won't go 2 months without actually progressing your gear. Again, the people that developed this idea that you need to go for PEN Debos and trade those for New Kharazads are people that basically just, it's the equivalent of people that sit behind a desk and try to make accusations about how construction workers should do their job. Okay, people have never done it themselves before. They don't understand what new players are going through. They don't understand what mid-game players go through, and they have forgotten the spirit of Black Desert Online. I assure you that you do not want to trade PEN Debos for New Kharazads. And if you do, you're like, Blue's wrong. Prove me wrong. Good luck in Honglim prison. Have a great time. The rest of us are going to keep playing the game. Have a great time. If you don't believe me, good luck. All right. Now that we have that out of the way, there are these guaranteed quests in the game. Okay. Well, actually, before we move on, there is one condition in which you should be getting PEN Debos in exchange for New Kharazad. And that is, if you're a returning player coming back to the game and you're kind of, and you have really good gear score, but you have like a PEN Kaposha on, or you have like really high APDP, but like parts of your gear look like a homeless person, right? You should probably just exchange, because you can already grind Tungrad Ruins, you can already grind the upper level grind zones. You're probably not going to be super far gone in that regard. You're not going to lose out. You're going to make silver a lot more quickly. Okay, then you can exchange for PEN Devos. That's absolutely something that you can do. If you're a returning player and you have looking gear, you can totally do that. Okay, that's me. There you go. All right, so now that we have that out of the way and why not to do that, we're going to talk about what to do next with your gear. There are guaranteed pens that you can get in BDO for extremely, extremely cheap. Okay, you can do weapons and armor, but you already have 3 Blackstar weapons, so you're not concerned about it. What some people do is they get a pen Kudum from Jatina, and you're going to walk up to Jatina. I'm not in a major city, but it's the same bitch that you talk to with basically everything. It's or Jatina. It's always one of the two of them. It's the same bitch, okay? You can walk up, you can get a pen Kudum from her. Okay, so she'll give you a normal pen Kudum, okay, for about 3.5 bill. But you already have a Tet Blackstar, which is the equivalent, and it's just going to be better, so you should just go with the Blackstar, assuming you have the Blackstar. What some people do is they take the Tet Blackstar main hand, or they take the Tet Blackstar Awakening, and that's totally fine, because they figure that when that goes pen, they're just going to keep hitting it with Jay's Hammers, and when that goes pen, they'll get a Sovereign Weapon. But I would argue that you should probably pen it as an offhand, because a lot of people are going to want the Sovereign offhand before the other 2 Sovereigns, because the Sovereign offhand is super valuable. So like, you really don't want to go for the Kudum route. You really do want to take the Blackstar if you can. But like, you know, if you didn't take the Tet Blackstar offhand, it's not the end of the world. You can go for the Kudum. That's how you can make that up. Okay. Now, the Jatina armors. Okay. Again, we're a DR build on this witch here, and what I'm demonstrating here. So I am going to go for the Beg's gloves, not the reformed. Just give me normal Beg's. There we go. Guaranteed pen boss gear. Okay, there's a weekly that allows you to do this stuff and get the concentrated stones that you need, so you should start doing that right away. The moment that you start playing the game, you should probably start doing the Jatina weeklies to get the concentrateds you need. Usually only 2 of the Jatina pens are worth it, and the third one is usually not worth it, but the first one is always worth it. The first one's going to cost you like 3 or 4 bill. It's really not that expensive. The second one's going to run you a little bit closer to 6 to 8 bill. And so the third one is going to cost you probably a little bit too much. And so you should just buy the third one off the marketplace. I recommend getting either the chest or the helmet. Doesn't really matter. We're going to grab the chest piece here. And to be clear, you should always be grabbing Dim Tree, which is again different than the previous guide. Actually, I think I said so in the previous guide too. They have now changed it so that Dim Tree and Red Nose take the same amount of Caphras to get to C10 now. So you should take the Red Nose because it gives you flat HP. Okay, so you've done the 2 Jatina pens for your other 2 armors here. Your last armor piece is either going to be your helmet or your chest piece here. Okay. Now, your last pen boss gear is probably going to take you a little while, and you can kind of wait on that. It's not really a priority. You do, since you can get the Silent Fallen God really easily now, you want to kind of get that done right away. The deck Tuvala isn't super hard, especially since they give you so many Crown Stones away for free nowadays with events and stuff. So like that, you're going to bang out. And then the 2 Jatinas are not very bad. Most new players are going to be able to handle this within the first few weeks that they're playing the game. Okay. The last one, though, you're probably going to want to buy this off the marketplace just at PEN. You're probably just going to buy a PEN Griffin helmet or a PEN Gaia's helmet. Okay. Oh, yeah. The Magnus. I forgot about the Magnus. True. I take it back. The Magnus questline is going to give you the last one. And honestly, you should do your first Jatina should always be your Beg's gloves. And then Magnus, you should always grab your chest piece. In most cases, is Dim Tree armor. Then the third one, you can choose to do your Jatina, the second Jatina pen, which is usually going to be worth it, but sometimes it's not going to be. So in this case, we're going to look at Griffin helmet prices and see what happened here. Let's see. Okay, yeah, see, so it's actually cheaper to just buy it from the market. You can see the min listed. This is crazy. Do not do your second Jatina if the prices are this low on this stuff. Okay, it just doesn't matter. Like, oh, I want my name on it. Your name's gonna get put on it anyway. It doesn't matter. Okay, so like ultimately, like, you can just buy your next one. All right, and it's only gonna be 4 or 5 bill, and I recommend the game is gonna give you 10 billion silver for free just because you're a new player. It's like an event thing that they did. 10 billion liquid. If you haven't already used that, you can go ahead and use it on your helmet. In this case, if you can't get this right away, you can just chill with it. It's not the end of the world. Okay, yeah, Jatina who? Yeah, exactly. So you'll do Jatina once for your gloves, Magnus for this one, and then sometimes they even have another event going on where you just graduate seasonal and they give you a free boss armor. That's fine too. Okay, I'm going to pretend that you got your Griffin helmet one way or another. Okay, because like it depends on which events are going on in the game, but this is where you're generally going to be sitting at this stage. 365 DP, 651 total gear score. This is when you need to be upgrading to Kabua's artifacts. Okay, right about now, Kabua's artifacts are going to be best in slot for you, mainly because these things give you 20 monster DR and 7 monster damage. Okay, these are absolutely insane. You also want to be upgrading your Lightstones, and you can be upgrading these as you go. I kind of explain this. I have a Lightstone guide that you can look at, and it's timestamped, so you don't have to watch the whole thing. But there's like a crystal and Lightstone and all that, and then like skill preset guide that you can look up. You can put 3 predations in and an iridescent. Okay, so once you don't need the combat anymore, you can put 3 predations and an iridescent in, and that will just give you monster damage. But I recommend getting off of this pretty quickly. And especially when you go to Kabua's, you don't want to have this heathen garbage filth in your gear anymore. Okay, you want to be actually getting a good Lightstone set. So usually I'm going to recommend monster damage or all-out attack. Vicious Shadows is technically best in the game, like best in slot if you meet the required AP at a grind zone. But I'm just going to tell you right now that monster damage in general is always going to be technically the best you can get, or all-out attack, because most players are always going to be trying to reach that recommended AP to get to the next grind zone. They're not always going to have the recommended AP and be able to put on Vicious Shadows until a little bit closer to the end game when things slow down a little bit more. So you want to go for species damage, whether it be demi-human damage, human damage. And I think that if you go Roar, is Roar the demi-human? So you can go an iridescent and some Roars. Not bad for the mid game, especially for places like Honglim Base. You don't lose any DP for it. Target openings is good too, but again, I go over this in my Lightstone guide, so I'm not really going to stay on it here. But right now in your gear, this is when you want to upgrade your artifacts and Lightstones. Okay, moral of story. Okay, at this stage, once your artifacts and lightstones are good, and this is also when your crystal setup should also kind of upgrade to an end game. You have ultimate Macalods now. You've got basically your Akrods in there. You're basically running an end game crystal setup as well. You want to make sure that your crystals and your artifacts are basically lined up and ready to go at this point so that you can start reaching those higher end grind zones, because that's going to be where you're going to get the best bang for your buck return on stuff. Now, there is a quest line through Fugar that is going to allow you to get, I think it's like 6,000, 5,000 Caphras stones, something like that. If you go grind at the early game grind zones, all you got to do is grind, I don't know, the potion spots a little bit. It's 3,000 Caphras. Yeah, so it's 3,000 Caphras, which should be enough Caphras to put Caphras level 4 and these remaining gear here. Okay, so you should be able to go up to C4 if you do that Fugar quest line. It doesn't take that long. Just go around. You're already grinding for your infinite potion anyway, and I'll be honest with you, you've probably already done it. If you're a new player and you've gotten to this point, this is where you're dumping your Caphras in. You want to try to equally disperse them until you hit Caphras level 6. Once you're at C6 on these, on all 3 of them, that's when you're like, okay, well, now I want to push one all the way to Caphras level 10, and that's when I want to go get my Dead God. If you're asking what Caphras are, I wouldn't worry about it because you're not really at that stage of the game yet, but Caphras are these little egg things. These little golden egg things, you need thousands of them. You just dump them into your gear. Okay, and it levels your gear up. Level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4. You need level 10 Caphras in order to make your Dead God gear. Okay, at base. Okay, and then you got to enhance your Dead God gear. Okay, but right now we're gonna pretend that we're at C4 on everything because, you know, that's basically where we're at. Like realistically. All right. Okay, so as we move forward here, and you continue to get DP in your build, we're going to be transitioning over to Dead God armors. All right, and there's a very particular way I want you to approach your Dead God armor, but we're going to get there in a second. You already have enough DP. If you're sitting on this gear score right here, you've already got plenty of DP. So we're really only concerned about AP at this stage. And we're going to be transitioning over to Kharazads, as I talked about before. It's about 5 billion silver to craft a base Kharazads, and you should be able to hit it to try or tet, basically without gassing it up at all, without having to repair it at all. You should at least be able to hit it to try or tet, which means that you should be able to replace these very, very quickly, and you should be basically transitioning to Kharazads as quickly as you can here. Now, please bear in mind that we are on the patch where Kharazads earrings have gotten a major upgrade here, so we're going to leave these at try for now. Okay, and the rest of these we're going to put at tet. Okay, because to be clear, the earrings are the only ones, for some reason, when you tap the earrings from try to tet, they don't give you an AP, so you can leave those at try for now until we discuss it later. Your necklace should always be about 1 to 2 enhancing levels ahead of the rest of your Kharazads. So once you have all of your Kharazads, you should be basically pushing your necklace up next. That should always be the first thing that you're enhancing, okay? And you'll notice we immediately shoot up to like 305, 307 AP. That's a lot of AP. Okay, when you start transitioning to Kharazads, a big part of the strength in Kharazads is actually in your crystal page. Okay, so you're going to get, every time you put on a Kharazad, it's going to unlock one of these crystal slots. Okay, and so since I have all 6 Kharazads on, I have all 6 extra crystal slots, and you can put special crystals in here that give you extra AP. Okay, so you're not just getting the AP from the Kharazads, you're also getting the AP from the crystal, which in this case is 4. And you can upgrade these even further. I think now with the Edania expansion, you can make these even better, but the expansion just came out, so none of us have all that yet. But yeah, this is another reason why you want to get to Kharazads early. Now, the other thing to worry about when you're doing Kharazads, and this is when I recommend doing this, is you need to cup your Kharazad. Okay, like you need to put these accessory cups on here, and there are events in the game that will make this really, really easy. So like some of them you'll be able to just grind for. Okay, I recommend buying these off the marketplace if you can't grind for them with one of the events though. Okay, so the necklace one is really cheap, so you're always going to get that one first. It's only like 300 HP though. You always cup your rings first. Okay, not your balls and not your belt. Okay, critical hit damage is super, super important. You always want to cup your rings. Always, always, always. Okay. And then you're going to cup your belt. Okay, so you can come down here, cup your balls. Then the last thing you're going to cup are your earrings. They only give 3 HP. 3 AP, hidden AP. and 100 stamina. So like that's pretty good, but like this is not necessarily a priority. But as you transition over to Kharazads, and certainly by the time that you have PEN Kharazads, you should absolutely have cups on these. The rings, I recommend doing it the moment that you transition over to Kharazad, in my opinion. Now it's time to look over your like 307 sheet AP. All right, this is really big because the 305 bracket is really, really big. You say, well, what's a bracket? Well, at this point, you probably understand this, and I probably should have explained this before, but you were just getting free AP before. There are things called AP brackets in BDO. So in other words, when you get AP, sheet AP in BDO, you're not just getting the 1 or 2 sheet AP. Okay, you're going to be hitting brackets. For example, there's the 261 bracket. So if you just get 1 AP, you go from 260 to 261. You're not just getting that 1 sheet AP. You're actually getting closer to 18 non-sheet bonus AP right here. You can see that in this column right here. Okay, 265 is another big bracket as well. You're getting 21 non-sheet AP for that bracket as well. So like there's bracket cutoffs in BDO that we talk about, and the highest brackets, most of the early brackets, I'll be honest with you, the reason we didn't discuss it before is because you're blasting straight through it all. Okay, so you're like, the only brackets that you're really worried about getting to are the 301 bracket, the 305 bracket, and the 309 bracket. Okay, those are the really, really big brackets and the final cutoffs for things that you really, really care about. After 310 sheet AP, every single AP that you get, let's say you go from 310 to 311 AP, you're actually going to get +8 monster damage. Okay, +8 monster damage every time. Okay, so if you get 10 sheet AP, you go from 310 to 320, you're actually going to get 80 monster damage. Okay, because that's how it works after you get past that 309 bracket. But right now, I'm working on getting you to that 309 bracket. So right now, we're at 307. We're not quite there yet. I would recommend hitting this to probably, honestly, hit these to pen, probably, and then hit this to hex. Because honestly, hitting the earrings to pen is really, really not that difficult. But you can instead go for hex first on your necklace. Just bear in mind, your necklace should always be at least 1 to 2. Oh shit, I forgot to enhance these first. Never mind, wheel that back. Honestly, I would pump these to pen. And then I would pump this to hex. Okay, but you should always keep your Kharazad necklace 1 to 2 enhancement levels above the rest of your Kharazad. Okay, so once these are pen, then you want to pen the earrings. The earrings are the last thing that you touch. Okay, up until they're pen. After pen, they give you 1 AP at every level, no matter what. Okay, but you pen all 3 of these, then hex the necklace, then pen the earrings. Okay, so earrings always last, necklace always first, and then the belt and the ring should always maintain the same level basically regardless. Okay, but you can see, oh my gosh, we're 314 AP. Okay, so we didn't even need to go that far. I'm really just trying to get you to 309. We're going to leave you at 310. We're going to say that you have pen Kharazad here because it's really not hard to get pen Kharazad once you've got your base Kharazads in there. Okay. All right, so once you're at the 309 bracket in the game, then you're going to look back at your DP. And this is where it's going to get kind of controversial. I'm going to tell you to go get your Duo Dead God, okay? Because you're probably going to be grinding for Caphras as you go. And I recommend getting the gloves first. All right, since you already have the boots done, you get the gloves, okay? And you're going to go all the way to C10 on those gloves. And then you're going to, honestly, you're going to go to C6 on everything first. Okay, so as you get Caphras, as you're grinding, just casually throw those in until you hit C6. Then once it's time to get your next DP, you're going to pump the gloves all the way up to your Dawn's gloves, okay? And the Dawn's gloves, you're going to tap to Duo. And there's a reason that you do this, okay? These were Jatina, or they were given to you from the Magnus. Regardless, Duo gloves is basically as far as you're going to want to enhance these yourself. Okay, this is as far as you're going to want to go by yourself. All right, so you're not going to go enhancing these to try. You're not going to go enhancing these to Tet. You're going to do what I'm about to tell you to do next. But going to Duo is totally fine. It should cost, assuming that you got the pen armor for free, in most cases, or for very, very cheap. And the Caphras, a lot of the Caphras you probably got for free too. It should take you about 11 to 13 billion silver to get a Duo Fallen God. Somewhere in there, depending on how much of the stuff you got for free. Okay, now that being said, okay, so you got your first Fallen God. We're at 389 DP. Now we're going to try to get our second Fallen God, which should probably be your chest piece. And we're going to do, where's the Fallen God at? There it is. And again, you're going to make the duos yourself. You're going to make the duos yourself. All right, and we're going to do the third one. Okay, so now we're full duo Fallen God here. All right, 409 DP. Holy smoke-olies. Okay, this is great. We're looking good. Okay, so once you're at full duo Fallen God and you've got your one try Fallen God in here, I want to be very clear. It is not cost effective to enhance beyond duo Fallen God. And the only reason that I told you to go get your duo Fallen God is because the majority of the time, the majority of that cost is kind of written off as free. You're going to get the PEN armor for free. In most cases, you're going to get a lot of the Caphras for free in most cases. The flame is an expense in some cases, but like, again, the duos are going to be kind of pennies on the dollar to make anyway, and then I'm going to tell you to leapfrog these forward, moving forward, but you don't want to be clicking these for try, all right? You do not want to be doing that. They are not cost efficient to do anymore, okay? Now, what to do next? We have plenty of DP. Now it is AP, AP, AP. Okay, at this stage, you need to have an order down on your Vell's Heart. It's not even a question. You should put the order down on your Vell's Heart somewhere around 700-ish gear score. And then as you're reaching the 720 marker, you hopefully have it. But if you put the order down at 720, hopefully you get it in short time. I'm praying for you. When you put your order down on your Vell's Heart, you need to put it on the concentrated magic. This is the only one you're going to be able to actually realistic. This is what drops from con. Okay. The only time that the actual Vell's Heart sells or is sold is when people that already have a Vell's Heart, in most cases, sell their Vell's Heart. Or people that made the concentrated magic, they make it into this and then sell it, which isn't cost effective. So whatever. But it takes a while to get this. Okay. So you're going to have to put an order down. It might be a few weeks. It might be a month, but you want to start putting that order down somewhere around 700-ish gear score to 720 gear score. You want to make sure that that order is down, okay? Don't forget the HBMP potions. I'm not covering that. That's a player's choice whether or not they want to grind for that. Now, at this point, it's can we get AP and how? All right. We're very close. In this particular case, I'm going to be real. I think that the next best upgrade on this board, I would pen your earrings. Okay, because that's relatively easy to do. Yeah, Tet doesn't give you any AP, but pen is pretty solid. Okay, and you can sit on pen. All right. And I would sept your necklace. All right, and I would sept the necklace. That way, everything else is sitting on pen. Your necklace is sitting on sept. You've got some really solid DP that you're worried about, or that you're sitting on. You've got your Vell's order down for your Vell's Heart. And the moment that you do get your Vell's Heart, by the way, you want to put the Exalted. You want to exalt it completely. So you want to put the little eggy, the yellow eggies on there. Okay, very, very easy to do. Okay, but we're going to pretend, honestly, we'll pretend that you get your Vell's Heart. We're going to leave it there because regardless, the next step is always going to be the same. This is around the time that you're usually going to be able to grind Hex Marie at this stage, maybe a little bit above Hex Marie in terms of your like AP at your grind zones, like how much total AP you have for grinding at the grind zones. Okay. I do think that the next upgrade is a PEN Blackstar offhand. Okay, and that's going to give you a decent amount of DP, but more importantly, you're getting ready to go to Sovereign. This is around the time that you want to try to get your first Sovereign weapon, and your first Sovereign weapon, in most cases, if you don't already, some people, they already had a Tet Blackstar, they hit their Tet Blackstar to pin, it happened to go because they got a bunch of Jay's Hammer, and like I said, if you have a main hand Sovereign at this point, or you have an Awakening Sovereign at this point, that is totally fine. Usually the first Sovereign that people are actually going to end up going for is going to be the offhand at this stage because they don't just stumble into PEN Blackstars, but sometimes they just do be giving away PEN Blackstars. This is the first really big upgrade. I'm going to tell you to basically everything up until this point has been like, oh, 10 billion here, 20 billion there, maybe like, 20 billish here, 10 billish there, whatever. This is the first upgrade where you're going to hard stop your progression in order to get the next the next step of this is going to be the offhand. The offhand is going to suck. Okay. You're going to pen this Blackstar offhand. You're going to buy another Blackstar offhand, and then you're going to get 20,000 Caphras. That's going to suck. It sucks. But in fairness, you are going to be grinding for like 1.5 to 1.8 billion silver an hour at this point. So it'll be a little bit easier than it would have been before. Okay. You should have a lot easier time doing this. All right. And you should never, Taylor Swift ever, go for your Sovereign offhand before your 310 sheet AP. Okay. I'm going to explain why very quickly, but you can skip this part of the video on YouTube. By the way, like the video. It would mean a lot to me if you reached down, you like that video. Thanks so much. Drop a comment if you like it. Now, the reason that you don't get the Sovereign offhand until you're 310 is because it only has 171 monster damage on it. You're like, only 171 monster damage. I'm sorry. The Blackstar has 171 monster damage, as you can see here. AP against mobs. But if you go to the Sovereign, the Sovereign actually only has 67 monster damage. You're like, holy shit, that's like 100 less monster damage. Absolutely it is. Okay, but what the developers are thinking is that if you're over... Now, remember, every AP you have over 310 gives you 8 monster damage. So as long as you're over 310 AP, you're going to get 14 sheet AP for this offhand. Okay, then you're probably going to enhance it to at least try off the rip. Okay, so like realistically, you're going to have like 17. 14, 50, 7, yeah, 17 sheet AP times 8 is 136 monster damage plus the 17 sheet that you had. These 153 monster damage is made up for. As long as you're over 310 AP, this math will always work out for you, okay? But if you are below 310 AP and you transition to the Sovereign offhand, you're going to end up losing monster damage in PvE, transitioning from the Blackstar to the Sovereign. Okay, you got to be very, very careful. Okay, so make sure you're not doing this before your 310 AP. Very important. Why Sovereign offhand first? Because this is going to give you the most bang for your buck, because Sovereign at base... This Sovereign at base is going to give you 14 sheet AP, and I don't think any DP. But again, and then you're getting 1 AP at every level, up to you'll probably enhance it to Tet right away at this stage. So you're going to basically jump 18 sheet AP, which is like a tremendous amount of AP. Okay, and you're grinding. At this stage of the game, you're kind of locked in. You understand the game. You understand the systems of the game. You're making a lot of money. Your account, you're getting AFK money, you're getting fishing money, you're getting Worker Empire money, you're getting active grind money, you're keeping up with the events and stuff. This money should be coming to you a lot faster. New players do not have the mastery of the systems in the game to really get a Sovereign super early on. But at this stage, I do expect a player, you got a Sept Kharazads necklace, you understand the systems of the game well enough at this point to go ahead and go for your Sovereign offhand. Okay, so we're going to in order to get your Sovereign offhand, there's 3 ways to do it. You're going to go ahead and use the PEN Blackstar. PEN Blackstar. And 20k Caphras. Okay, this is how you're going to get it. This is how you're going to get it. Okay, it's going to suck. It's going to cost you probably 200-ish billion liquid. A little over 200 billion liquid. Some of the Caphras you'll end up getting for free for events and stuff, but like, yeah. It's going to cost you about 200 bill, roughly. And this is the first time I'm going to have you like jump and be like, okay, we have to do a bunch of stuff here. Okay, so for those of you that don't know, this is your first Sovereign weapon. You're like, oh my god, so cool. Sovereign weapons end up glowing when you hit PEN enhancement level with them, okay? They start glowing. They glow even more at Oct. Okay, so they end up glowing like a shitload. So like if I pick up my character right now and I take out my weapon, you can see it's glowing yellow. Ooh, big, shiny, holy shit. Look at those swords are incredible. Okay, so they glow even more the more you enhance them. Also, when you upgrade your Sovereign for the first time, okay, you're going to have, whenever you get a Sovereign, you're going to get these Reforge Crystals. Okay, these Reforge Crystals. Which Reforge Crystals should you have in your weapons? Every single time you're going to have the same 3. And then there's 2 of them we're going to talk about. The universal 3 are critical hit damage, back attack damage, and AP. Okay, these 3 will always go in every single one of your Sovereign weapons. Okay, the other 2 are entirely up to you. The other 2 are entirely up to you. All right. In a lot of people's cases, I particularly like to focus on trying to do like open world PvP and stuff. Down attack damage can be very useful. Some PvE spots also allow down attack damage, so I like down attack damage. I also like accuracy. But like, you don't need to do this. Let's say you're an Awakening Megu, you're probably actually going to want air attack damage because that class scales on air attacks really, really well, right? Some classes like Guardian are going to want to go for DR. in their crystal setup as well. Okay, so like the final two are kind of up to you. If you're a PvE only Andy, Black Spirit Rage recovery cannot be understated. That shit kind of slaps. Okay, and my PvE Andies in the chat can back me up on that. The Black Spirit Rage recovery is very, very good in PvE. Okay, plus damage reduction helps keep you alive, so that's a win. Okay, so this is what I would consider a PvE setup. You can also go Evasion if you're an Evasion build. Very, very good. But like I like down attack and accuracy mainly because I try to PvP a little bit more. But yeah, you do Black Spirit Rage recovery for PvE, so I'll leave it on there because that's what most players are going to be doing. We'll put DR on there too. Okay, so that's how you do the Reforge Stones. All right, so now we've got our first Sovereign. All right, and we're 338 sheet AP with 418 DP. Sweet. All right, so now that you're finished with the Sovereign offhand, we've built a bunch of AP. Now we're going to build more AP. Okay, best way to build more AP at this stage, probably the remaining Garmoth's hearts. That's right, chat. Yes, probably the remaining Garmoths. Now, when you log in, you're going to get a Garmoth's heart for free. Do not sell your Garmoth's heart. Okay, they're going to give you an inverted heart of Garmoth in your Y menu as a new player. Do not sell your fucking Garmoth heart as a new player. Do not do that. No, do not sell it. Chat is asking you to sell it because they want you to, they want to buy it. I don't think you can. Regardless, where there's a will, there's a way. They'll figure it out. Okay. Now, you're going to put it in your Awakening, and you're going to put it in your main hand. Okay? At this stage, okay, you have your PEN Kharazads, you got your Sovereign offhand. You need to make sure that you have at least 2 Garmoths. I actually don't think that you can upgrade. You can upgrade the main hand Garmoth until you have a Sovereign. I think you have to wait for the Sovereign. But like your Garmoth, the Garmoth that they give you, you can put in your Awakening or your main hand. Or I guess you have to put it in your Awakening, right? Yeah, you have to put it in your Awakening, right? The offhand Garmoth is not nearly as important, but once you have a Sovereign offhand, I strongly recommend Earthshaking is really good, and you can sit on that for a while. If you're wondering how you get Earthshaking, this is like Timu Garmoth's heart. Okay, so this is going to give your offhand like 525 HP. Okay, but it's not going to be as good as Garmoth's is. All right, you should probably, once you get up to your Sovereign like this, you should probably have a Garmoth in your offhand. Okay, like 100%, bro. Your weapon is purple, for Christ's sake. You're like 750 gear score. It's time to have Garmoth's hearts. Okay, it is what it is. All right. All right. Okay. Now we want more AP. All right. So in this case, you're going to start hitting your accessories to Hex. And believe it or not, boom, boom, boom. Look at that. More AP. And believe it or not, your earrings, which previously did not give you 1 AP at Hex, now do give you an AP. So now every time, once you're past pen, the earrings are going to give you an AP at every level. So you can upgrade these to Hex too. Okay. I would say that at this stage, it's probably time to start worrying about, you're like 343. Okay, you've got 1 try Fallen God. Now we're going to look back at our DP. And it's very important that you don't f this up, okay? This is going to be another thing where you're going to be leapfrogging. You're going to sell. You're going to save up some money. Okay, I'm not sure where try is necessarily going to sit at. It should be between 40 and about 50 billion. It could be 35, but like right now it's at the lowest it's probably ever going to get to. But like, hey, we'll see. But it should be anywhere between like 35 to 50 bill in most cases. And so what you're going to do is you're going to sell. You're going to save up some money. Okay, like, I don't know, 15, 20 bill. All right. Then you're going to sell your duo. And you're going to buy a try. You're like, well, that doesn't sound cost efficient. I assure you that it is. Okay. Trying to enhance these is a nightmare. Okay. And if you pity them, it's going to cost you hundreds of billions. Okay. Like it is brutal. Okay. And when instead you could just flip it and get the DP, no problem. As a new player, I've got 25 mil right now. You're going to get a bunch more. You'll be fine. It's cheaper to just hit it. True. If it one taps, you know what I mean? Shut up. Idiots. All right. So you're going to start flipping your armors. All right. From duo to try. I strongly recommend buying your Fallen God armors. Okay. You sell the one that you have. And then that's, again, why I told you to make this duo before, is that, you know, you're probably going to have at least one or two of your armor pieces that you got through Jatina's. And the only way to really sell those and liquidate that money is to make it a dead god, and then you can sell it on the marketplace, and then you're good to go. Okay, so you can sell this. And you got a bunch of it for free anyway. So you're going to sell this. You're going to get your tries. All right. Boom, boom. That's how we're going to upgrade to full try Fallen God. All right. So now we're sitting on full try. At this stage, you're entering what a lot of people consider you're very close to the end game of BDO, if not already in like the first part of the end game in BDO here, because you're starting to get into the higher level enhancements. You're going for Oct on your necklace. You're starting to look at tapping your Tet armors. And a lot of people are going to ask, okay, well, which Tet armor do I want to get first when I transition to the Edania armor, which is like the new content that just came out? You always want to get the gloves first every single time. Unless it's some weird drip fashion contest thing, the Edania gloves give you 50 more accuracy than the Dawn's gloves do. So like when you do attempts, like if you have a hammer, like a Jay's hammer, and you keep hitting your tries to Tet, and I don't recommend tapping for Tet either, but if you have Jay's hammers, why the not? You know, and if it happens to go to Tet, you want to make sure you're tapping it on the gloves. Okay, so if you're using Jay's hammers to tap from try to Tet, then you want to make sure you do it on the gloves. If you're going to buy your armor, you're not even going to use your Jay's hammers on it, you always want to get the gloves first, okay? Because it's going to give you 50 accuracy. Okay, you're going to get 50 accuracy. Now, at this stage, though, I'll be honest with you, you're not doing your armor anymore. I just kind of wanted to state that as we get back into the armors. I'll explain more on it. Okay, we're going to hit our necklace to Oct. Actually, yeah, necklace to Oct. Okay. And then you're going to look back, and I think it's time to hit your other sovereign weapons. Okay. Their sovereign weapons are probably going to be the best bang for your buck upgrade. Oct's Kharazads necklace isn't the worst upgrade. It can you, but it's at least 2 AP. You know what I'm saying? Now we're going to look back. If you're an Awakening class, you're going to get the Awakening Sovereign first. And if you're a main hand class, you're going to get the main hand Sovereign first, okay? You're going to get your Sovereign Awakening, and I think, honestly, I think this is when you want to get your Sovereign main hand too. You don't have to get both of them if you're an Awakening class. We went over this before. Follow the chart, okay? Whichever was the first Blackstar that you got, this is when you want to look at it again and be like, okay, that's probably the Blackstar that's probably the part that I want to get the Sovereign for that one first, okay? The Reforge stones are exactly the same as we talked about before. You're always going critical hit damage. You're always going back attack damage. You're always going AP. And then the final two are up to you. I'm going to put Black Spirit Rage Recovery in here because that's very common. And then we're going to put DR in here too, okay? If it were me, I would be getting another Sovereign here, okay? And the reason for the Sovereign on your main hand is that you can also put a Garmoth's Heart on it. Yay! And it should give you 3 more AP. So you'll notice that this is 350 AP without a Garmoth's Heart. Then you put a Garmoth's Heart on it, you just get 3 sheet AP for free. That's 24 monster damage just for putting a Garmoth's Heart on your main hand. That's giga. That is absolutely giga. All right, so this is the same thing. Okay, so as you get your Sovereigns, you put your Reforges in them, and you finish this out. Okay, so now we're looking good. Now we're looking good. Honestly, I'm hitting all my Sovereigns to pen, at least, because then they glow. I'll be honest, the glow is super valuable. You don't have to do this, but the glow is giga. I love the glow. I'm a big fan of the glow. Big fan. Can't go wrong with the glow. Okay, but now we're 356 AP with 3 Sovereigns. And you're going to look back at your Kharazad now and say, okay, what do we need to do next? You're going to sept your Kharazads. Okay. Boom. Boom. And then you're going to move your necklace. Okay, so we've pushed these another level. At this stage, probably the first time that you want to look at getting your first Wailing Fallen God piece, and we talked about this before, so I'll gloss over it now. It's always going to be the gloves. I recommend doing the same strategy here, unless you got lucky with your Jay's hammers. Unless you got really lucky and you just happen to tap them, like, oh sweet, and they went awesome. If not, you're selling Try and you're buying Tet. same strategy. Okay, you're gonna save up like, I don't know, 100 bill or 120 bill or whatever the hell it's gonna cost. I don't know how the market's gonna fluctuate on it. But you're gonna save up like the 80 to 100 bill. Then you're gonna sell the try, you're gonna buy the tech. Okay, and again, this is how you're gonna leapfrog your armors forward. Every time. Gloves first. Gloves first. And I recommend getting at least probably 2 of them at this stage, and then you can chill. All right, because at this, like when you're at this stage, you're doing the Edania content, which means you should be able to get your first Edania piece of armor. And we talked about it. It should be the gloves every time. And you put the gloves at duo. Okay. You can put the gloves at duo before going to get another piece of Edania armor. You have to enhance the free try because you can't sell it. Oh, that's true. That's true. And in that case, you're leapfrogging the gloves. All right. You're going to leapfrog everything else like I told you to. The gloves, you're going to use all of your Jay's hammers on the boots. Whatever free piece of armor you got through your deck Tuvala questline, which in most cases is the shoes if you're following this guide, that you every hammer you get, you're throwing into that Ator shoes. Every single thing that you get, every opportunity that you get, you're throwing it at the Ator shoes. Free attempts on that is super, super important. Okay. But eventually, yes, you're right. You are going to have to tap those because you can't sell that try. Okay, but it should be a lot cheaper than normal, mainly because, again, you're putting the Jay's hammers into it. Should be cheaper. Also, there's those new enhancement stones, which should be really cheap too. Those will probably end up bottomed out at min or somewhere around there. Maybe. We'll see how those end up panning out. But like, yeah, it should be a little bit cheaper to enhance it nowadays. But yeah. Okay, so you're going to hit your first Edania armor to duo once you have it. And again, once you have this is weekly gated content. Okay, so every week you're going to be getting 1 stone. You're going to be able to click it. I recommend using super high fail stacks and overstacking for these because, again, it's weekly gated content. You want to hit them to duo before making your next armor piece. In my opinion, let's say if you had it your way and whichever, it's like, well, which one should I do second? You should do the boots second, in my opinion, if you can. Right, but let's be honest. If you took the boots for free and you're waiting for those things, you're waiting for hammers to keep clicking that, you're probably not going to have it. You're probably not going to have the Tet Fallen God. But if you do, you get the boots second. All right. But we're going to pretend that we don't have it yet, and we're going to grab the chest piece, and we're going to hit that to duo too. Okay, so as you hit your Wailing Fallen God, you should upgrade it to the Edania armor, and make sure you're doing your Edania weeklies every week so that you can get your stones. Okay. As you're doing these weeklies, okay, this is like one-time content every week. The rest of your money that you have is going into your Kharazad. Okay, you're just dumping into your Kharazad. The Wailing Fallen God be damned. You're basically just pumping AP all the time because the DP is all weekly gated bullshit anyway. Okay, so you're going to pump this to Oct, pump this to Oct, pump this to Oct, pump that to Oct, pump this to Oct. Holy shit, look at that, we're gaming. At this point, now you can pump your Ad Sphera. You can pump your Sovereign up to Hex at this point. Looking pretty. Looking pretty. Okay. Congratulations on 800 gear score, by the way. Breezed straight by him. All right. And at this stage, you're still hitting this. Eventually, this is going to go. Eventually, this is going to go to Tet. And this is going to be your next Edania armor piece, probably, which leaves the helmet for last. Okay. But like the moment that it goes, you're transferring it to Edana and you're trying to tap them to duo. Okay. This should only take around a day or two, right? Yeah. Right. Okay, so at this stage, it's deck necklace. Nuve. Okay, so again, necklace, always out in front of the rest of them. Same basic principle. Nuve everything. You can look at septing your Sovereign at this point. This is 2 AP at every level. Actually, it's still only 1 AP. I thought that they improved this. So that this was 2 AP at sept too. And then it was 2 at Oct, 2 at Nuve, 2 at deck. Oh, it's only for the... Okay. Yeah, this is the offhand. I'm like, what the frick? Yeah. I was like, what the... Okay, so, again, you're getting 2 AP from your sovereign at every level beyond PEN. Okay. I'm sorry, I meant to select the Awakening there. Okay, so you can hit these to Sept, and it will give you 2 AP. I will warn you, Sept is a bitch. I swear to God, the Sept enhancement rates are not correct. I swear, I almost pitied both of my 2 first sovereigns for Sept. The third one went on like the 3rd try, but like aside from that, Sept can be really, really hard. Okay, so I'm just bracing you in advance. I'm keeping you from enhancing these because they're hard, man. They're really, really hard to click. Okay, but you can Sept your 3 sovereign weapons. Okay, and you can see that you get +1 AP and +1 DP from the dagger at this point. And I'll be real, you already know it at this stage. When you have the ability to, you can save up. Honestly, I wouldn't even worry. Actually, I would tap this. This is the next imminent. I would leave these at... This is all weekly gated content too. For those of you that don't know, your deck Kharazad are also weekly gated content. You can only get these stones, these Dawn Blackstones, from your Dark Rifts. Okay, and you're only going to get like 3 or 4 clicks a week. All right, so if you save them up the entirety of your BDO career, they vendor for 30 mil. You save them up over your whole BDO career, it won't be weekly gated, but most people don't save them the whole time. They sell them because they need money, whatever. So like, this is probably going to be weekly gated for you, but if it's not, great. You can keep tapping your deck Kharazad. All right, it's 5 or 6% chance. Good luck. We're praying for you. We're praying for you. That being said, I would stop what you're doing right here, and I would tap your helmet. And the reason is, you can actually you're actually really close on DP here. You're 443. In order to reach the 3rd castle in Edania, you need 445 DP. Okay, and assuming you don't have a Khan's Heart, you are going to need this helmet. Okay, and that puts you at 448. Okay, and again, you're going to sell at every opportunity. You're selling the try to buy the Tet. Every time, except for the boots, where you're going to have to tap them because you got the try for free. Well, free. You got the try for pennies on the dollar. Okay, and then you should be using your Jay's hammers on that try. Okay, now we're full of Edania armor. We're pumping. We're getting more stones every week. We're cooking. Most of your AP are... I'm just going to stop talking about the Edania armor at this point. I'm just going to assume that every time you can click these, you're going to go ahead and click them. It's weekly gated content, and it's all RNG based, so like it's going to be really hard. We're going to focus on the AP for the remainder of the guide here. You're going to deck the rest of your Kharazads. Okay? It's that simple. I'll see you in 6 months. These are extremely expensive. They're over 3,000 cron stones a click. It is not fucking cheap, brother. It is not cheap. All right. These, then you can go ahead and oct. The reason I'm not telling you to oct is because oct is a 3% chance, and it costs bongo crons. Crazy cron stones. Crazy cron stones. And if you pity oct, it's gonna feel bad. And you do get a sick ass glow. It do be a sick ass glow, but like it is what it is. But now you have no choice. You're gonna come down here. You're gonna opt all 3 of your sovereigns. Okay, and then you're gonna nuve all 3 of your sovereigns. Honestly, again, these are gonna keep pushing themselves every week. I'm just gonna assume that by this point you're probably at Edania armor. You're working your way up. Maybe even you're at Tet. We'll leave them at Tet. Sure, whatever. Okay. But that's going to take many weeks. This will take months because you got to transition all 4 armor pieces and enhance them. You're going to fail sometimes. You're only going to get 1 to 3 stones a week up until this point, until the next bit of content for Edania comes out, which case you get a few more stones. But yeah, then you're just nuving. We're nuving. And then you guessed it. We're decking. And you have basically beaten the game at this point. Then you are literally you're at where I'm at, which is you're weekly gated on everything. I did my Edana boss today because the reset happened today, and I have literally nothing else I can do for the rest of the week to progress my gear. I literally am just going to sit here twiddling my thumbs. Now, I can keep pushing for this deck. That will happen, and I'll push for this deck, but I've already got a deck offhand. So like, I don't know, you just kind of end up with you're just running out of shit to do. If you end up with all 3 deck sovereigns, deck Kharazad, and you're just waiting on your Edania armor, you've essentially beaten the game. Okay. So, This is the 0. Okay, and then as you go, guys, you're going to keep pushing your Edania armor one at a time until you're all the way at deck. Okay, and that's going to take you a couple years. That probably going to take you about a year and a half. Assuming you did the weekly every week. Then you've done it. You've beaten Black Desert Online. The only thing that you can upgrade, which you will probably do along the way, is this alchemy stone. Bam, there it is. You've beaten Black Desert Online. All it cost you was no sex for like 4 straight years. If you're wondering how long it's going to take you from a new player to get to this gear right here and completely beat the game, probably 2.5 years. Assuming you grind like a maniac. Okay. If you want to know from a new player to Edania, how long is it going to take you to reach the new content? I would say realistically 3.5 months. If you grinded a shitload. Realistically. To reach the bottom end of that content. Guys, thanks for watching my gear guide. I appreciate it. I know it was kind of long, but hopefully you kind of just came back to it where you needed to and just used the timestamps that we have for you there. And hopefully this guide helped you. If it did, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe down below, maybe leave a comment on the video too. I love you guys, and I'll catch you on the next one.